When Alfred Mehran arrived at the Charles de Gaulle Airport on August 26, 1988, he was a soft-spoken man in his early 40s, eager to catch a flight to the United Kingdom where he hoped to meet his biological mother for the first time. As he boarded the flight, along with several suitcases filled with his essential possessions, Alfred didn't expect he'd be returning to the pre-departures lounge of Charles de Gaulle mere hours later, or that it would be there he would watch the world transform around him, new technologies arriving and fading away, entire nations collapsing and reforming, experiencing it all through newspaper articles and fleeting fragments of overheard conversations. When he arrived at the Heathrow Airport and failed to produce a passport or any other identifying information to the immigration representative, they'd been stolen, he claimed. Alfred was detained and then put back on a plane to Charles de Gaulle. He was initially arrested by airport authorities for attempted unlawful entry into the country. They ultimately determined his residence inside the airport violated no laws, but they were unable to permit him to enter Paris without proof of who he was or where he was from. And his plight would remain until Alfred himself was able to provide the necessary documentation.
Everybody is not my problem. When that man will come with official documents, then we will accept him. So it's his problem to solve all that. They are playing with him.
Alfred decided, at least momentarily, to settle into Terminal 1, a bustling part of the pre-departures lounge which resembled a shopping center. There was a McDonald's, an electronics store, the entrance to a hotel, and hundreds of people, all too preoccupied with their own travel plans to notice him. Amidst it all, Alfred found a red-cushioned bench near a window which overlooked an outside fountain, a view which would become achingly familiar. As days turned into weeks and weeks into months, Alfred became a part of the Charles de Gaulle landscape. That night, he curled up on his red bench, his blue jacket serving as a blanket. He'd wake up early before the airport became swarming with passengers to maintain basic hygiene in the terminal bathroom. He made friends with a few airport employees, such as those at McDonald's, which provided nearly all of his meals. Occasionally, people who knew of his situation would supply him with toiletries, clothes, meal tickets, and money, and he would deposit what he didn't immediately need into a savings account which he'd opened with the airport post office. He kept his mind from dwelling on the uncertainty of his situation by reading. Deportation was not an option as there was no birth country on record to which he could be deported.
And this is loneliness and not too happy. But I hope the result will be a happy end.
But who was Sir Alfred? And how far back did the roots of his misfortune stretch? And was he a victim of bureaucratic circumstance or his own mind? By the early 2000s, Sir Alfred had become something of a minor celebrity, and independent filmmakers and journalists were no longer the only ones interested in his story. The man who had been living in Charles de Gaulle for 15 years had caught the attention of Steven Spielberg. DreamWorks acquired the rights to his life story for a film titled The Terminal. Tom Hanks would play a character loosely based on Sir Alfred.
Now I go New York City. Thank you.
A stateless refugee stuck in an airport, eating fast food, bathing in the public restroom sink, sleeping on a bench, caught in a bureaucratic glitch that held him hostage inside an international transit lounge.
I am delayed long time.
The film was released in mid-2004. A popular photo opportunity was Sir Alfred posing next to the poster, advertised in his home of 16 years. Some photographers even managed to capture the absurdity that he would likely never have the opportunity to see the movie. Publicity surrounding Sir Alfred during the film's release was at an all-time high, as people wanted to meet the man who'd inspired the film.
Did you know that a man has been living at Charles de Gaulle Airport in Paris for more than 16 years? He has no possessions, no home, no ticket, and no money. And now Hollywood has used his story as inspiration for a new film.